The first thing I want to say is we're going to build this bridge. That's going to happen. That's going to happen.
There's big news if you follow the Interstate Bridge Replacement Program, or what I like to call the Oregon-Washington I-5 freeway expansion mega project. Yes, this is the behemoth of a project they've been working on since at least 2005 or so. I think I first wrote about it when it was called the Columbia River Crossing Project in 2007, believe it or not. Anyway, today they came out with a new cost estimate. The full project, they say, is $14.4 billion. That is just an obscene number. But the top headline from today is the fact that they're not going to do the full project. Yes, project officials are finally doing what a lot of advocates have been urging them to do for years. You might remember the Just Crossing Alliance is a group of environmental and social justice groups that were really pushing on lawmakers to not fund this project unless it was right size, unless it was made smaller. Essentially, this Interstate Bridge Replacement Program includes not just the bridge, even though if you look at all their marketing and social media, they almost never talk about anything other than the bridge, but it includes 5 miles of wider freeways, and it includes 7 new interchanges. That's where the bulk of the money comes from. Of course, if you're a project official or DOT, you really love big projects. It means more staff, more contracts, more money, more budget, more power, all that sort of stuff. So they've always gone for this big project, and a lot of folks, me included, have been saying, hey, shrink this thing down, just do the bridge and we can talk. Well, guess what? That's what they announced they're doing today. This new project, which they are estimating to cost $7.6 billion, and they're going to do it in this first phase. They call it their core set of projects. It's going to include 2 big things: replacing the bridges and extending light rail into Vancouver. That was pretty easy. Too bad they didn't do this many years ago. They probably could have saved a couple $2 billion, but whatever. This also includes, and it wasn't clear by their statement today or in their press conference, they didn't mention this little fact, but I have confirmed that this new core set of projects, essentially what is this new phase 1 of the IBR project, it'll start construction in 2028. It also includes the shared use path, right? So these new connections in the bike path network from Marine Drive up over the river onto the Vancouver side, new bike paths for walking, biking are also included in this first phase. So we made the cut, folks. Now there's still a problem. The project is about $1 to $2 billion short, depending on whether or not they get these grants. But because they have a combined $5.5 billion already secured, essentially in the bank, they feel like they can move forward with construction and get the demolition started with the existing bridge, that sort of thing. So for them, it's really good news because it changes the sort of PR trajectory they were on, which was really bad. They're able to say that they're moving forward with the project. So this is really big news. It's going to change how advocates talk about this project, what tact they take in terms of trying to nudge it in a really good direction. But it seems to me like, at least if nothing else, a small W, I'm not sure, maybe it's a big W, that they've essentially value engineered the massive freeway expansions and interchanges out of the project, at least for now. They are talking about it like it's still a 5-mile corridor. They kind of have to talk about it that way. But as we know, given how much money they still need and that they don't have, and how uncertain funding is these days, maybe they just never get to expanding the freeway. Maybe we get enough good bus service across the new bridges that they're going to make and folks using light rail that the modeling just doesn't work out and we never see these big freeway expansions and interchanges that we never needed, and we certainly, I don't think, are going to need into the future. So that's the latest on this project. Before I go, I want to share this one exchange from the press conference when someone in the media asked Washington Governor Bob Ferguson why the project even has light rail at all when folks in Clark County, some folks at least, have repeatedly said they do not want the MAX, they do not want the light rail. Listen to how Bob Ferguson handled this question.
Why does this project have to have light rail when Clark County residents have historically been against light rail?
So look, I'm relatively new to this project, but I know how important light rail is. And look, that literal and figurative train has left the station. We're going forward with light rail. I want to be clear. I'm not interested in looking backwards, okay? We're building this damn bridge. That's happening, okay? That's happening.
Oh, and one last thing, as always, for the full story, go check out BikePortland. I've got a story up there recapping today's press conference, and I've got links in there to the new project documentation and all the information you need about the new cost estimate and everything else. Thanks for watching.